All right, good afternoon. I'm here with Mark Sloan, our Emergency Management Coordinator, Chief Lori Christensen, the Harris County Fire Marshal, Paul Locke, Director of Local Government Affairs at Centerpoint, Edward Blanchard, Regional Disaster Officer at the Texas Gulf Coast Region American Red Cross, and Jeff Lindner, our meteorologist. It has been a busy morning and night at our Emergency Operations Center. The good news is the precipitation is over and there's less ice on the roads right now than we were expecting. Right now, power is in a good and stable position. But I don't want folks to get too comfortable. Things are going to change. Right now, things are relatively stable, but with that change will come a different set of threats. We were fortunate we didn't see any catastrophic situations overnight. Calls for service for the sheriff's office and the fire marshal's office were relatively low. I spoke to Sheriff Gonzalez this morning, just a little bit ago. He did say that in the last hour, calls have started to pick up in terms of people going out on the roadways. There have been people stuck on overpasses. There have been single vehicle crashes. There have been issues with 18-wheelers that got stuck because of the ice. And of course, what that means is first responders then have to go through that same difficult roadway condition to get to the folks that have been in an accident. And so since this ice, even though it's less than we expected, it's still there. My ask is, if you can be home, great. That would be the best thing to do. If you want to go out, if you have to go out, stay off the highways and stay off the bridges. That's where we're seeing this ice. We see some people going the wrong way, trying to get out because there was ice the way they were going. And of course, that creates a hazard. Be patient. Driving is probably going to take you longer. Remember, what looks like water could be ice. And you can always start hydroplaning if you hit a frozen spot. So just keep that in mind. So that is with phase one of this emergency, which was the ice on roadways. Now we're moving into phase two. Phase two is the extremely cold temperatures. The reason we're really concerned about the cold is we're concerned about people being out in the cold, we're concerned about people's pipes, and we're concerned about our infrastructure, which is not built for this kind of cold. On our end, we're doing everything we can to reach folks who still may be outside, any homeless people that might still be wanting to be out there, making sure people have a warm place to go. So I'll give an update on the shelters in a little bit, but for you, this is actually a good time to go and drain your pipes and wrap your pipes if you didn't already do that, because right now the temperatures haven't quite hit the level where the pipes would have burst, generally speaking, but it will. And you might not find out until Tuesday because it may stay frozen through tomorrow into Tuesday. And so just take care of those pipes, and we have information on how to do that at readyharris.org. On power, I saw some headlines last night that there could be up to hundreds of thousands without power this weekend. That's not what we're seeing right now. We've spoken to ERCOT again. They're feeling good about how things are going so far. Of course, anything could happen. Centerpoint will have an update, but we're seeing things marching in a good direction so far. In social media, you know, we've seen some outrageous claims on social media. So remember, don't believe what's out there. Some people take advantage and they'll just post any kind of thing. So check your local media, check Ready Harris accounts, whether it be Facebook or Instagram, you name it. Just check those trusted sources. What we're doing, we've moved all public-facing parts of the county Monday into being closed. We'll keep folks posted about Tuesday. So no jury duty, no taxes, no library. all of that, all the public-facing services will be closed. In terms of county employees, if you're a county employee, please check with your supervisors about Monday. There are 20 total shelters and warming centers open throughout Harris County. You can see them on readyharris.org. Some of them are over here. And you can see these are between Harris County and the city of Houston. 18 out of the 20 are overnight shelters. 6 officially accept pets. 2 out of 20 are daytime warming centers. Some of the overnight shelters don't have the same amenities as others. And so just check the map. All the information is on there, so you know what you're heading towards. If you're in Harris County and you need help getting to a shelter, call 311 for help. Unfortunately, this won't work outside the boundaries of Harris County. So if you are outside the boundaries of Harris County, check with your local emergency manager, and we are working on trying to put this in onto 211, which will work everywhere. But right now, if you're in Harris County, you can get help from 311 no matter what city you live in within Harris County. While I'm talking about warming centers, I want to sincerely thank all our county precincts, everything they're doing. Every single precinct has offered up their community centers for warming centers. They have crews out there treating the roads. They're doing wonderful work for Harris County, so I really appreciate that from our county commissioners. The sheriff's office, the sheriff himself is checking the jail. Everything's running smoothly. When I spoke with him, he was making rounds at satellite sites to make sure everything was going well. What you should do, again, try to stay off the roads, and if you decide to go out, stay off highways and stay off bridges. And then in terms of phase 2, those temperatures, the risk is the burst pipes, which is going to be much colder overnight. This is your last chance to deal with those pipes. And a word of warning, please do not post anything false. We are seeing people concerned there. I want to thank everyone because the calls for service were lower than expected. As I said, it's really just in the past hour that the driving has picked up. And so everybody really did do their part overnight, and we're all really grateful for that. And now we just want people to be careful and not get on those highways and bridges and really be thoughtful about what you're going to need when it gets even colder tonight and tomorrow night. Remember, you're responsible for yourself and for your family. We'll have another update tonight, and we'll keep you posted as the cold weather moves through. We'll be here throughout the rest of the day and throughout the night. Let me repeat briefly in Spanish. Ha sido una mañana ocupada en el centro de operaciones de Harris County. La buena noticia es que las precipitaciones han acabado, la lluvia fue menos de lo esperado, entonces el hielo en las vías ha sido menos de lo esperado. Eso no significa que nos vamos a confiar y que ya todo está bien, porque, bueno, esa fue la fase 1, la fase de las amenazas en las vías, pero ahora estamos entrando a la fase 2 de esta emergencia, y esa fase 2 es el frío extremo que viene, que ya está llegando al condado Harris. Las llamadas de emergencia han sido relativamente escasas, tanto en la oficina de jefe de bomberos como la del alguacil. Entonces, muchas gracias por mantenerse en casa, por no estar afuera en las vías. Eso ha evitado bastantes accidentes. Durante la última hora y media, ha empezado a salir la gente. Y el alguacil me explica que está viendo accidentes de un solo vehículo, está viendo camiones de 18 ruedas que se han quedado estancados, inclusive vehículos que están conduciendo al lado opuesto en la carretera para intentar no terminar sobre el hielo. Entonces, si usted desea salir, bueno, la recomendación sigue siendo que disfrute estar en casa, pero si decide salir, no vaya ni a ninguna de las carreteras, ningún highway, ningún freeway y tampoco a los puentes. Entonces, ahí es donde estamos viendo el hielo y esos accidentes. Recuerde, si usted tiene un accidente en una área con hielo, los mismos policías tienen que pasar por ese hielo para llegar a usted y rescatarlo. Entonces, se está poniendo a riesgo no solamente a usted, sino también a los respondedores de emergencia. En cuanto a esta segunda amenaza, siendo el frío extremo, temperaturas extremadamente bajas. Estamos preocupados sobre el frío porque obviamente es peligroso para las personas, las mascotas. También estamos preocupados por las tuberías del agua de los residentes y también nuestra infraestructura, ya que no está diseñada para este frío. ¿Qué podemos hacer? Bueno, en cuanto al condado, todos los lugares públicos están cerrados, van a estar cerrados mañana el lunes, incluyendo las cortes, incluyendo la oficina de impuestos. Todo lo que tiene que ver con el público estará cerrado. Los empleados del condado deben verificar con sus supervisores sobre el lunes. Otra nota aquí, antes de que se me olvide, han habido en las redes sociales algunas historias de más frío del que hay, de unas tormentas que no existen. Entonces, recuerden no creer todo lo que ve en las redes. Esté usted en la página de readyharris.org, obviamente prestándole atención a sus noticias locales. Tenemos 20 refugios a través del condado Harris. Se ven aquí a la derecha, los puede ver en readyharris.org. 18 de los 20 funcionan en toda la noche, son refugios nocturnos. 6 de los 20 aceptan oficialmente mascotas. Los 12 refugios nocturnos, no todos los refugios nocturnos tienen la misma calidad de noche, digámoslo así. Entonces, hay algunos de los refugios nocturnos que solamente tienen sillas. Vea el mapa, estudie de qué se trata cada refugio antes de ir al refugio, pero si necesita un sitio donde estar durante el día o durante la noche o ambos, por favor, se le invita a uno de estos refugios. Si vive en el condado Harris y necesita transporte a un refugio, llame al 311. Llame al 311 si necesita transporte a un refugio en Harris County. Lastimosamente, este recurso no funciona fuera del condado Harris. Entonces, si vive fuera de las líneas del condado Harris, contacte a su director de emergencia local, el de su condado. Pero si está dentro de Harris County, sin importar la ciudad, llama al 311 y ahí le pueden ayudar a llegar a un refugio. Quiero darle las gracias a los precintos, los comisionados del condado Harris por todo su apoyo con los refugios, con las calles. La oficina del sheriff ha checado la cárcel, todo está bien. Hablé con él hace poco, como les dije, y de hecho estaba dando los recorridos alrededor de la cárcel y otras oficinas para verificar que todo estuviera bien. Nuevamente, una advertencia, por favor, no maneje en autopistas, no maneje en puentes. Las tuberías, tiene ahorita la última oportunidad para manejar eso, entonces puede visitar readyharris.org si necesita instrucciones de cómo drenar sus tuberías en el hogar, las debe cubrir también. Esta noche las temperaturas van a ser tan bajas que ahí es cuando se explotan las tuberías y puede que no sepa usted que se le ha explotado la tubería, sino hasta el martes, que ya se derrita todo eso. Entonces, para terminar aquí, recuerde que es usted responsable de sí mismo y de su familia. Aquí estaremos nosotros el resto del día, toda la noche, hasta el martes mínimo. Estaremos manteniéndolos al tanto. Tendré otra rueda de prensa esta noche y manténganse seguros. Muchas gracias por su ayuda hasta ahora. We will now hear from Chief Christensen, our Harris County Fire Marshal.
Good afternoon, Laurie Christensen, your Harris County Fire Marshal. Again, we had a lot of good messaging yesterday about PrEP, and I do want to give some good news. Last night, we had about 5 overnight residential carbon monoxide detector alarms in unincorporated Harris County, and we had no injuries. We had no transports. Those alarms went off, and people did as they should. They got out, they stayed out, and got the assistance they needed from the fire service and law enforcement. We did have 2 heat-related incidents on Saturday and overnight this morning. One was a chimney, and we talked yesterday about the chimneys. If you haven't cleaned your chimney out, if you haven't used it this year, I'm going to recommend that you don't start using it now. Because if you've got to open the flue, we need to have that cleaned out. Because the leaves and things fall in there, and if it's not ready to use, our greatest concern is that sometimes when you light that, it will come back on you, or it will burn where embers are going to come out. So again, we had a chimney incident. Everybody's fine, no transports, nobody was injured. The second thing we had was a heat lamp was placed too close to a combustible. And remember, we talked about this. We have our animals, many of us have things outside that we like to keep warm. And, you know, it could be your chickens. It could be some people, especially, like I said, I've got a lot of young students who are taking care of their animals during school right now with FFA, things like that. Make sure when you're using those heating lamps, it's not too close to the combustibles, because sometimes you'll put blankets over it trying to keep those animals secure. I do want to give some good news. Animals were not injured. They were able to get them out. So we're seeing good response, and we're seeing people really adhere to the preparation and knowing what to do when that occurs. Now, what I will say is this. Today, and I know we've been pushing stay at home, and we're going to continue to push that. And, you know, again, working with our law enforcement partners, talking to the city of Houston, we're all pushing you. Stay home. It's a great football day. Let's watch football. That being said, that means more of us are going to be probably staying at home using our grills and barbecuing and kind of maybe having some neighbors and some friends over. What that means is you're going to have more fire pits and more grills than we normally may have this time of year, because sometimes people tend to go out, right, to watch the games. I say that because, remember, these games start about 2 p.m. today, and they're going to go late into the evening. If you are going to barbecue, make sure that fire pit, the barbecue pit, even if it's propane, you have it at least 5 feet to 10 feet away from your house. I say that after you've cooked, for sure tonight, what's going to happen is those embers, especially if you use a grill that has, wood or any charcoal, those embers will continue. And you don't want that carbon monoxide just from the embers coming up and the heat that's still in there coming up through the eaves of your house, coming in through maybe a sliding door that you have or an area that you have that's in and out of your home. So please keep those away. The other thing I'm going to recommend is take a water hose and wet those things down before you put them out tonight, before you go to bed tonight, but when all your friends and family leave. Because again, the biggest concerns we have is fire, because when we have people sleeping at night, I know all of you went home last night and you adhered to, every one of you checked your smoke detectors, and I bet you got your kids together and your family members, and you probably said, okay, here's how we're going to get out of the house or the condo or the apartment, and here's where we're going to meet. And if you didn't, let's do that today. But that being said, we don't want anything to happen tonight. So again, wet down the barbecue pits, wet down the fire pits. If you're going to use a chimney, make sure you aren't using it for the first time, but if you're using it, keep 3 to 5 feet away. Also, again, reminder, keep the pets away, keep the children away. If you have a space heater, tip over protection, but don't put it in an area that it could tip over and catch something on fire. Again, I just want to say thank you for the prep. Please get with Ready Harris. I know we have various things out on our site. I've got team members going out. We're working with the various business owners, and we're stopping in at the shelters. We're here to make sure you have a safe weekend and we have a safe event. And again, thank you, because I think this is some great news. People are adhering to our safety messages. So thank you, and we look forward to working with you later today. Thank you.
We'll now hear from Paul Locke, the Director of Local Government Affairs for Centerpoint.
Thank you, Judge. As of 11:45 this morning, we had approximately 1,400 customers without power. 1,100 of those were located here in Harris County. From Saturday at 6 a.m. to Sunday at 7 a.m. this morning, we've restored power to 27,000 customers, and their average outage time to restore was about 1 hour. Our focus now, we're shifting our focus from the freezing rain to the hard freeze that's coming up the next 2 days, and which could have some impact on our equipment, but we've got plenty of supplies in place if that's the case to happen. We continue to remind our customers to stay away from down power lines. If you see one, please stay 35 feet away and give us a call. If you smell natural gas in your house, please step outside a safe distance away and give us a call for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Edward Blanchard, the local or the regional disaster officer at the Red Cross.
Thank you, Judge. We continue to support the 6 shelters, 12 overnight reception centers, and 2 daytime reception centers for warmth. It is great to hear so many stories out in the community about neighbors helping neighbors and the community coming together to help the community during this extreme cold. If you plan on coming to a shelter or a center, please remember to bring your essentials. This includes medication, special dietary food that you may need, phone numbers for emergency contacts in case your cellular device dies or you're not able to access it. If you come with one of your pets, please bring essentials for them as well. At our facilities, we do have food, snacks, beverages, and pet-related items, but we want to ensure that you have what you need because this could be a long duration. Please remain informed of the weather as it continues to change. If you have any questions or need additional information, please use the trusted sources mentioned during this press conference. And also, please feel free to visit redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS so we can support you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In terms of our shelters, I do want to say that we're across the system at about 60% capacity, and we're watching those numbers to make sure that there's room to take more folks if necessary. I'll take any questions now, or questions for the speakers.
Any chance that y'all would consider closing any of the ramps to the overpasses or the flyovers at this point?
Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Sloan, Emergency Manager for Harris County. The first responders, TxDOT, Metro, everybody's monitoring those roadway systems. Some of them were shut down yesterday at 4 p.m. by TxDOT in preparation for icing because they're typically the most hazardous. So as ice is reported on any of those flyovers and the bridges, they are closing those down if they can identify ice, but sometimes people go out and truckers are trying to move through and they're getting caught in it. As it's identified, it's being reported through Transtar and Drive Texas so that they can get shut down by first responders. Some cones and barricades have already been pre-positioned in those really high flyovers and some of the bridges already.
So it would be fair to say, like, you can still see closures?
Correct. Anything, as the judge mentioned, we're moving into that second phase. With the hard freeze, anything that has water on it now, on that surface, is going to freeze overnight. So don't anticipate that it's melting today. It may look dry, and at night, everything that looks shiny, it looks wet, is going to be ice. It's going to be very hazardous, very dangerous for people to be out on the road. That's why we're recommending stay put, essential driving, stay off of the interstate, stay off of those high bridges. It's important for you and your family to stay safe, and that's the message we're going to continue to push with our transportation partners.
Thank you. And Maritime Commerce right now is closed. The pilots that are steering the boats have decided it's too dangerous given the conditions. And the roadways, yeah, let's not be the ones to test them. But obviously, there's a commerce part of this. That said, they're just, for the most part, not safe right now, the highways and the bridges.
We've been keeping up with some of the TransStar cameras. Can you briefly talk about some of the ice on the interstates, especially like the one in Haiti, where we've been seeing some of those vehicles sliding?
Yeah, especially Highway 99 is where we're seeing a lot of issues. And, it's going to get colder. We just can't predict exactly where we're going to see those dangerous conditions. And so we've talked it through. What should the recommendation be? And this is really the best one we can say. We can't guarantee that a highway or an overpass is going to be safe. We really can't. And smaller roads, probably. But if it were me, if I weren't here, I would be at home because it's just not worth it. There's plenty of stuff to do at home. But yes, we're seeing a particular impacts on 99.
What about those trucks that are passing by? Like usually people out of state, people that are not aware that this is going on. Is there any way that they are being told to avoid those high bridges and things like that?
Yes, they're being told they should know. Of course, this ends up being individual decisions, and but we saw, at least that one incident that the sheriff's office responded to. Hopefully, we won't have more. The good thing is we haven't had any larger incident. Like a few years ago, I think it was in Dallas, there was a truck, and then all these other cars that hit it, and so we don't like any accidents, but we certainly don't want to see anything like that. And so you begin having more of an opportunity for that when you have a lot of people out. So please don't do that.
Una pregunta, ¿cuáles son los tramos de las carreteras que han causado más accidentes? Y también, ¿ustedes esperaban algo mucho peor de lo que pasó esta noche?
Sí, la carretera principal es la 99, especialmente en el área noroeste, pero en general los puentes y las carreteras no podemos garantizar que son seguras, entonces por favor no conducir ahí. La verdad sí se predecía que iba a haber más hielo y que más vías iban a tener ese peligro, pero no fue así, menos mal. Entonces, las vías pequeñas, se podría decir que es seguro. Si yo no estuviera aquí, si estuviera en casa, me quedaría ahí. Hay suficiente que hacer en casa, no es necesario ponernos en peligro. Y como les he dicho, ya han habido accidentes. Menos mal, no hemos tenido ningún accidente masivo, es decir, que haya un camión que se estrelle con un carro y 10 carros más. No, eso no ha sucedido, pero puede suceder. Entonces, evitemos conducir y definitivamente evitemos los puentes y las carreteras.
Para seguir esa pregunta, ¿cree que debido a que esto está pasando durante un fin de semana, a lo mejor el riesgo, y la respuesta ha sido mejor?
Sí, nunca podemos estar seguros que la comunidad va a seguir las recomendaciones porque pues todos tenemos cosas que hacer. Sé que fue un sacrificio esta mañana, estar en casa, pero nos ayudó muchísimo y confío en que el día de hoy va a haber ese mismo sentido de responsabilidad con todos evitando esas carreteras, esos puentes y en general evitando conducir donde se pueda. Y el énfasis, el enfoque debe ser el frío que viene. Las tuberías, usted que tenga todo lo que necesita por si tiene que quedarse en casa un tiempo, no se elimina aún el riesgo de que se vaya la luz. Entonces, asegúrese, tiene esta oportunidad para dejar todo bien organizado por si necesita quedarse en casa unos días.
Just touching base on the warming centers. I know yesterday we were at one. It was unsure if they were going to keep it open a little bit after maybe Monday at noon. Looking at the temperatures dropping going into Monday, what's the schedule for the warming center?
We'll have a better sense later tonight with the latest update on the weather. But we know that tonight going into Monday and Monday going into Tuesday are going to be the coldest nights. So I would think certainly until Monday going into Tuesday at least. So actually, it's below freezing pretty much throughout the county now. That said, there's, where we haven't seen ice, it's because the pavement has some warmth, and so it needs to get below, I want to say 28 degrees, Jeff. And so, you know what, I'm going to let Jeff explain this.
All right, so the question was, when is the freezing? So we do have freezing conditions now, really from the 59 I-10 corridor north and west. We might warm up close to freezing this afternoon, and then it's down from that tonight. And then the same thing tomorrow. We might get up into the upper 30s, but it's only going to be for a few hours, and then back down tomorrow night and Tuesday morning. As far as the ice goes, the judge is right. What we've seen is there was some residual warmth in a lot of these bridges. So even though the air temperature was 28, 27 degrees, the bridge was still 35, 36, which is why we haven't had as much ice further to the southeast in the city. But we do have that issue out where the temperatures fell down to around 24, 25 along that 99 corridor, 290 and I-10.
All right. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.